Hello, happy Friday, and welcome to the IT Hour. I'm Becky Scott, your host, and I have a colleague, Nate Copt, joining us today. And Nate's part of our tech writing team, and I will have him do a better introduction than I did when he talks about our product roadmap on JCU a little bit later. But Nate, welcome.
Thank you for having me. Happy to be here.
Yeah, absolutely. We've been talking a little bit about some of the stuff behind him in the background. I was noticing his Kansas sign behind him there. So tell me a little bit about your Kansas sign. Is that for one of the teams there or just a
Uh,
visit?
well, I grew up in Lawrence, Kansas, and so that is my alma mater. I also went to school at the University of Kansas. I was on the rowing team there. That's where I met my wife. I am now currently in Golden, Colorado. My wife is from Colorado. I followed her out here. The weather is much nicer out here. A lot less bugs. Yeah, so that's. But I still support my alma mater.
Yeah. Well, then we kind of grew up neighbors because I grew up in Southwest Missouri.
Okay.
So, yeah, always hear a lot about the basketball there. I mean, that is the biggest thing. I mean,
There is
it's
some.
so flat there that there's no scenery to look at. So you gotta do something.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, a little known fact. Well, maybe not, but the Kansas's first basketball coach invented the game of basketball, James Naismith.
Yes. Yeah.
So there's a little
Yes.
bit of history there. A little bit of history.
Yeah. Yeah. Midnight Madness and all of that started there, and that was a big deal. I heard about it growing up, but maybe a lot of other people did not. So it's a pretty big deal out in that neck of the woods.
That's right.
Um, Basketball is a huge sport in the Midwest. Well, and baseball too, but I mean, in that particular section, like Kansas and Missouri, baseball, basketball is a huge deal. So Rob has already requested that we make this a nice calming IT hour. He wants to take a nap and wants it to look good. So I guess that means you won't be really that engaged in the chat. So we'll just kind of disregard you and let you sleep while we do some more fun things. Oh, everybody's trickling in all of a sudden. It just jumped up in our attendance there. So let's see. We've got everybody's popping in here. So Alan and Carl and Michael, Tiernan, hey Mark and Nathan, Dorothy. So we've got some of our regulars here. Charlie, Sam, Sadant, Todd, Ian, Kayla, Zach. Welcome everyone. They are still just trickling in here. So thanks for joining us today. We are glad to have you. And I'll pop this up on here. Rob saying, move the thing to the other thing. All
Go my
right.
favorite sports team.
Yeah. Yeah. Go other sports team. I like that one too. Sports ball. Yes. I guess when you say that, most of the sports have some sort of ball. So yeah, you can go one sports ball team, go the other one. Um, the Winston Cup. Okay. Yeah. Sure, Rob. I think you might need some more coffee to knock those cobwebs out. And Nate, Rob is one of our infamously very active in the chat and very funny. So you'll get some oddball comments from him. So
I love
we
it.
just roll with it. It depends on how much coffee he has had on whether his comments make sense or not. But yeah, absolutely. Oh, yep. Still got a little bit of mine left too. So we will proceed. Our agenda, of course, is the Piston Cup. Okay, somebody's a Cars fan. There we go. We will talk a little bit about what's going on in community, and our product update for this week is actually what Nate's going to talk about. So I will jump right in. It has been busy in the community, so this is great. Uh, Blake Richardson on the Security Networks board is asking about 802.1x with MAC address. And what he's asking about is setting up an SSID on Meraki and whether or not there's a guide. So he could use some help there, or they could use some help there. Sean is back on the best practices. posting about new device onboarding experience with Intra ID Identity Federation. So he's got a guide there for y'all. And um, I'm going to say this username, and I'm probably doing it wrong, but since they're based in France, I'm going to say A. Pronier, and I may or may not have that right, but they've got two different discussions. One in MSP, they're looking for a JumpCloud expert to help them with some installs and things. And so they're looking for either a freelancer or an MSP based in Paris. And then they also had a question on product discussions about a Chrome extension for app quick access. It's an equivalent to one that Okta has, and they're wanting to know if there's one for JumpCloud. And Joe Workman, one of our favorites, is back in Scriptland, and he is giving a quick tutorial on using PowerShell to access directory insights data for a report on user last login events. Love it when Joe shares that. In fact, I was going to ask y'all, it's been a while since Joe has been on here. So if there are any particular PowerShell things you would like to learn that you haven't seen in a while, drop a note in the chat and I will see if Joe wants to come on and give us another demo. It's been a little while since he was on here, and he does such a great job of giving those quick shares on how-tos. He's so good at that. So let me know what you would most like to see from Joe, and I'll pass that along and see if we can snag him. And product release, we've said this the last couple of weeks, but we finally got Nate on here to talk about it. Brand new product roadmap over in JumpCloud University. Nate, what's going on there? I'm so excited. Now, you gave an internal, show on this, but I'm excited to have you share with our audience more about this. So
yeah, I did. And thanks, Becky. Like I said, I'm super happy to be here. This is my first IT hour, so please be kind, everyone.
Sorry, that doesn't that rarely happens here,
okay,
but it's okay. No.
It's Friday.
No, it'll be nice. It's okay.
Yeah. So a quick introduction. My name is Nate Copt, and I lead JumpCloud's team of technical writers. Our team is responsible for creating all of the content for our Help Center articles on jumpcloud.com/support. We're also responsible for the in-product what's new content that you see in the upper right corner of the admin console, as well as the product release notes that you all have access to. The tech writing team is tucked under our JumpCloud product organization, and that's an awesome place to be because it gives myself and our writers a really unique insight into product features as they're being defined. So it really helps us with the content that we create for you all. I wanted to quickly give a little plug for a lesser known feature of our content that some folks may not be familiar with. And that's the ability to subscribe to updates on any of our Help Center content via RSS feed. At the top of every single Help Center article, you'll see 2 RSS feed links. The first link will subscribe you to any updates across our entire Help Center content. So that one's a little noisy, but if you want to get those updates, they're there for you. The second link will subscribe you to a specific section of our Help Center content. So for example, you can subscribe to just new feature and product update announcements by subscribing to the release note and bug fixes RSS feed. So hopefully you all are taking advantage of that so that you know the second we update that content and things are released and available for you all. So speaking of new feature and product update announcements, I wanted to make sure that everyone here was aware of a new effort that we launched back on June 4th, I think it was, and that's the JumpCloud product roadmap. It's the first time that JumpCloud has had a customer-facing product roadmap. A quick disclaimer here, as a tech writer, I report the news. So I'm not really going to be able to answer specific questions about the features in the product roadmap, but I'm here to make sure that everyone is aware of it and can access it. So the product roadmap lives in our JCU space, as Becky mentioned, JumpCloud University. The reason for that is we wanted the content exclusively available for customers, and JCU gives us the ability to put this content behind a login. So as long as you have a JumpCloud admin account or an MTP account, you'll be able to access the roadmap content using those exact same credentials, just signing up through JCU. Once you're logged into JCU, you can then access the product roadmap. I'll share my screen real quick for any of those folks who have not seen the product roadmap. We'll do a little live demo here. All right, I think we should be good. So once you're logged into JumpCloud University, this is you'll see the product roadmap. It kind of appears as a course in JCU. You can click on that course, and once you click on that, you are into the latest and greatest product roadmap. We start with a quick overview, what to expect. The product roadmap does contain 3 main sections. Those sections are released, under development, and future. Released goes back 2 quarters for everything that we've released. If you want to go back further, you can go to our release notes on jumpcloud.com/support. We have everything that's been released for the entire year and the previous year, so 2023 and 2024, if you want to see how things have progressed. Under development, our feature is targeted to be released within the next 3 to 6 months, and then future is anything in the next 6 to 12 months. These dates can fluctuate, right? They're kind of loosey-goosey, so they'll kind of come in and out. The released features, you'll all see at the top there, links to the release notes, our bug fix reports, and agent release notes if you want to dive deeper into those. But the high-level overview is a quick description of the feature that's been released, the quarter that it was released in, and then if you click to learn more, it'll take you directly to the Help Center content that goes in depth describing that feature. And that's all the content that the tech writers create there. We've got them kind of categorized into different buckets of areas of the product. Under development, you will see here the things that we're working on that you will hopefully see in the next 3 to 6 months with a target quarter for those. And then future, that's where we get a little bit further out, so things get a little fuzzier, but this is our target for the next 6 to 12 months. We don't put a specific quarter in here, but we are targeting the next 6 to 12 months for those. A big thing here, we love feedback from you all. We look at this feedback the second it comes into a Google form for us. We go over that feedback as a team. We bring product leaders into that feedback and let them know about that feedback every week. So we go over this every week. So the more you fill out here, the more your feedback will get back to specific people. So we kind of ask you what you're excited about, what features will impact you the most, any additional feedback, kind of an open question area there. And then we'd love it for you to choose the top 5 features you're most eager to see released there. So once you submit that, it goes directly to us. And we take that feedback to heart, every single piece of feedback. There is also, if you haven't noticed, a section for feedback at the bottom of every Help Center article. So if you're in there and something is confusing to you or doesn't make sense or needs clarification, please fill that out. The writers look at that every day. So the writer responsible for that article will take that feedback to heart, will update or clarify any questions that is submitted for that feedback. In terms of the cadence of updating this roadmap, we at a minimum will update this every quarter. So you'll see new updates to this roadmap every quarter. And then if, depending on how things go as we're developing these features, if it gets done early, we'll update this roadmap on the fly. So you'll see live updates in there. Or if something maybe gets shifted around in priority, we'll also update that automatically. So you'll see live updates within the quarter. So it doesn't have, you don't have to wait an entire quarter if something does kind of move around in our priorities. So that's what I have in terms of the product roadmap. And I will stop sharing.
All right. So, um, let's see. Nathan had a comment about the article concerning the new radius cert, and there being some things that are a little confusing. So I've asked him to ping that to me on Slack so I can send it to y'all. It has to
Perfect.
do with there being two different files and it being a little confusing. You know, it kind of needs to be like both of them.
Okay.
And then
Yeah, pass that along. We're happy to make sure that, and we'll work with the owner of that feature, the product owner, and make sure that we can clarify that as well as we can.
mhm. And Carl said it would be great if the product info help center were linked directly in the JumpCloud application for all fields that require data.
So something we're working on as a tech writing team for future, this is not in the product roadmap, is context sensitive help. We really, that's kind of a next big step for us. We recently migrated from a CMS, all of our content to a new, more modern CMS, and that's going to give us the ability to embed links directly in the product that should be more context sensitive. Hopefully that answers. I think was what that question was.
Yeah, I had asked for more. Whenever one is in the application where one might need more help entering, configuring, add a link on how to configure the option. Yeah, so I was thinking the same thing, like a little, like how some have a little eye to tell
Yep,
you what needs to go in there.
that's right. Yeah, we
So
have some learn more links in there, but we really want to. That's kind of more a manual process at the moment. We want to really get a more dynamic, context sensitive help experience for everybody.
I'm going to paste the URL to the course in here, but I want everyone to realize that it will prompt you to log in with an administrator ID. So it's immediately going to prompt you. So you won't really see it when you are going through the courses if you're not logged in. So you can look under all courses, but it's not going to pop up until you are logged in with your admin account. Or if you click directly on this link, it's going to immediately ask you for your administrator login.
Yeah, I think we're going to have the JumpCloud University team add it to the featured articles, so it'll be a little more visible for folks and a little easier to discover if you don't have the link.
Yeah, because right now, you go to JCU and it's just you don't know where to look at it.
Yeah, you can find a link to it in our release notes as well.
I may go ahead and put that in your post on the community because I know right now your post goes just to JumpCloud University. It doesn't go to the course directly.
Yeah, and I think if you search product roadmap in the help center, it should come up in the search results. The release notes article will come up that contains the link.
Okay. Yeah, I was searching in JumpCloud University and it was not coming up, which makes sense because it's behind the login. But we want to make it easy for everyone to figure out where it is. Let's see. Oh, I think Siddhant just shared that's the URL for the radius article. I think that's the one that Nathan was talking about. So, all right.
Got it.
And then Brandon, friendly reminder, JumpCloud does not support ARM, so no Snapdragon laptops for us. Sorry, Brandon. However, you know what I'm going to say, so be prepared. What am I going to say? I am going to say feature request. And this is something we say every Friday. So I'm going to drop the link. There you go, Brandon. Feature request city. And there's the link to make it easy. put in your feature request about that for ARM and Snapdragon and all that good stuff. And then maybe you'll be able to use those one day, not too far in the future. But I don't have the full insight into the roadmap, so I know, Michael, feature requests to see them from everyone and let you vote. I know. Still putting that out into the product team. I think that's a longer term request. We get that. We get that frequently, Nate, and exposing some of that. I mean, we can do some of that on the community, but that's different than the current workflow. So we have we got to work on a way to do that. So
And that's absolutely something that I can bring up with product leadership.
yes, please do, because the more voices that bring that up,
Yep.
the better. I've brought it up too. We have a way to collect ideas and vote on them in the community, but I know that is not part of the current workflow. But we've talked about maybe taking some of the most frequently requested things and putting them out there so people can make comments and vote on them. Because once you see what someone else has done, it might give you an idea, or you might say, oh, yeah, I like that, but here's my use case to add onto it or to clarify how it would work better for you. So I think seeing what someone else has said and then adding on your comments would really help a lot. So we've kind of talked about that, like whatever we're thinking for the next quarter, put a bunch of those out and let people say, oh yeah, these are the ones that would work best for me. And then we've got some prioritization. I like that.
I'm
I
actually a
like the name.
Nathaniel, but yeah, I go by Nate. Yeah, if you really want to get my attention, yeah, you'll call me Nathaniel, and then I think I'm in trouble.
Ah, there you go. Yeah. Same with me. Becky is only really a nickname. Here, I'll put that up for everybody to see. Everyone should appreciate that more. I do sometimes accidentally say Nate instead of Nathan. But Nathan, since you have Nathan on your display name, I will usually call you Nathan.
But yeah, I totally agree with the voting and comments on features. Yep.
Yeah, 100%. In fact, I can export all these comments and you can cherry pick those and give them to product management and say, hey, look at this.
I absolutely will do that.
Okay. All right. The more voices I can get helping with that, the better. But I think some people actually have put that in as a feature request. Like let us see and vote. So keep them coming, folks, and go ahead and put them in as a feature request. It doesn't hurt. They get looked at and they will get combined with the other ones. So the more they see that, I know Nathan has. I think he's the most prolific of our IT hour attendees. Yeah, I can't remember what the count was last we looked. So keep it up. There you go. See, Jonathan's got it.
I love it.
Got the case number and everything. All right. All righty. So keep the comments coming in there. And again, if there's ever any confusion on a help desk article in the support area or something within the product that's like a little bit of something that's confusing, please bring it up to us and we will take it to Nate's team. Nate, is there a particular way for them to surface that? I know they can ping me on Slack and I'll be happy to bring it to y'all, but is there a direct way on the articles for them to?
Yeah, so like I mentioned a little earlier, every article at the bottom of every article is a feedback section. I think it asks, was this article helpful? Yes or no. If you say no, then we give you a form to fill out and explain why it wasn't helpful. And we look at those every single day. And we update those articles accordingly, based directly on the feedback we get from those comments.
Yeah. So
Yeah, we've got a
please
really
go ahead.
active, great team of tech writers. So, and they take their content very seriously, and they take it to heart, and they own it, and they love it, and they love what they do. And so, yeah, anything they can do to help make their content better,
Mhm.
to assist our customers, yeah, the happier they are.
And they're very responsive.
Yes.
They update pretty quickly too. So, all right. Oh, hey, James. Here we go. So James wants to know if there was a reason the product roadmap was integrated into JumpCloud University.
Yeah,
So,
I did mention that. I know you're a little late joining, so I'm happy to go over that again. We put it in JCU because we wanted the content exclusively available for customers. And so JCU, the space, gives us the ability to put this content behind a login. So anybody with a JC admin account or MTP account has access to that content, but we wanted to make sure it was behind a login.
and hopefully it'll make it easy to update too.
Yep.
You know.
And then we are looking into, upon request, creating a PDF for folks that would like kind of an offline copy of that.
To share with leadership or something like that if they need to.
Yes, we do. We love the comments from our Help Center articles that say, "Hey, this was great. It helped me a lot." We love those comments.
All right. Yeah. Thanks for that, Nathan. And Stuart, also late. No soup for you, Stuart. What's the update frequency of that, Nate?
Yeah. So again, guaranteed we will update this at a minimum every quarter. And then if things change throughout that quarter, if something is completed early or if priorities shift, we will update that within the quarter.
Yeah. And James, we were talking earlier about notifications for product updates and things like that. Nate, do you want to reiterate that again?
We don't currently have the ability to subscribe to or get updates in JCU for the product roadmap content, but that's something I can look into. I can work with our education team to see if our education platform has that ability. We can also, another option for us is we can update what we will do is, if the content is updated in the roadmap that is like mid-quarter, we will put a note in our what's new in the admin console saying, hey, an update has been made to the product roadmap. So you'll be able to see that there.
Yeah, and that's something you can subscribe to.
Yep.
And we can also, do a quick update to the article or to the post that Nate made in the community. You can subscribe to that, and we can make a comment on it that just says, hey, new update, as of what date. And then if you are subscribed to that post, then you'll get a notification that there was a comment on it. And we can make a quick comment in the lounge as well. So lots of times. Okay, so I guess that answered Stuart's question about dated on last review. So he said fab. So I think that took care of the question there. Awesome. All right. So if you have any more questions, please go ahead and put them in the chat. I'm going to jump over to IT news, but please don't feel that cuts you off from making more comments or questions about that. Let's see what we have here first. Looking at The Verge, New York has banned or is in the process of banning addictive feeds for teens. And the legislation will also limit social media notification to teens' phones overnight. So the New York governor has signed 2 bills into law on Thursday that aim to protect kids and teens from social media harms, making it the latest state to take action as federal proposals still await votes. One of the bills, the Stop Addictive Feeds Exploitation Safe for Kids Act, always trying to make a mnemonic out of that, will require parental consent for social media companies to use, quote, addictive feeds, unquote, powered by recommendation algorithms on kids and teens under 18. The other, the New York Child Data Protection Act, would limit data collection on minors without consent and restrict the sale of such information, but does not require age verification. And that law will take effect in a year. I'm not sure how they will do that if there's no age verification. Sponsors of the Safe for Kids Act wrote that its purpose is to protect the mental health of children from addictive feeds used by social media platforms and from disrupted sleep due to nighttime use of social media. In addition to the algorithm restrictions, it would bar platforms from sending notifications to minors between midnight and 6 a.m. without their parents' consent. I find all that terribly interesting. When you know, social media, parents can restrict some of those, or they can just turn off notifications. So I don't know whether y'all consider that an overreach or not, but it's certainly interesting to see them doing that and whether other states will follow. Oh, it also said that once this takes effect, the state could then fine companies 5,000 per violation. And again, we'll see what more news comes from that. So Sam says, so you use a firewall to control what your son has access to. Yeah, I use the Apple family to, restrict screen time and stuff like that. Had a 19-year-old ask their doctor for preventative Botox. Social media's effect on young people is crazy. Yeah, Jonathan. And there is supposed to be the COPPA Act where there's supposed to be some limitation on kids and what they can, do around 13. And Tad says all minors sign up to social media saying they are over the age of 18. Probably a lot of them do. I do know that they will at least say that they're over the age of 13, even if they're not. And yeah, the peer pressure and stuff can just be so difficult for them. I mean, even before all of this on the phones came on, even just chat, my stepdaughter struggled with that when she was younger, with just kids trying to bully over AOL chat. So it's tough out there. All right. So I don't know if anyone on here is using Kaspersky or not, but you're not going to be able to buy it very soon. So citing national security, the U.S. is going to ban Kaspersky in July. And they're citing the Russian government's capacity to influence the company's operations. So the Biden administration will ban all sales of Kaspersky antivirus software in the U.S. starting in July, according to reporting from Reuters and a filing from the U.S. Department of Commerce. The U.S. believes that security software made by the Moscow-based Kaspersky Lab, say that 15 times fast, represents a national security risk, and that the Russian government could use Kaspersky's software to install malware, block other security updates, and collect and weaponize the personal information of Americans, said U.S. Commerce Secretary Gina Raimondo. When you think about national security, you may think about guns and tanks and missiles. She said during a press briefing, as reported by Wired. But the truth is, increasingly, it's about technology and dual use technology, and it's about data. So, what do you all think about that? There needs to be a network level block of social media from providers such as ATT, Comcast, the Apple screen time is buggy. And Michael says his kids get around all the time. Putting up a firewall on your home router is nice until the kid figures out they can turn off Wi-Fi on their cell. Good point, Michael. It works when they're on their computer. Or they use their cell phone as a hotspot for their computer, and then they can kind of get around it too. Jonathan says a ton of antivirus companies are in that area. Next block, Fortinet, because it's China. And Rob says we're in that timeline where the best AV options are Norton and Microsoft. Ooh, that's not so great. And Shane says not surprised at all. Yeah, I mean, I think it's been talked about for a while. I don't know where, I can't remember where Sophos is located, and I'm blanking on where. And then Brandon says Norton is a dumpster fire. I don't even know if McAfee's still in business after all the shenanigans with their CEO, or I guess the guy that started the company and stuff. Stuart says UK. Okay, well then good. At least we have one somewhat option. And I can't think of any others, but I'm sure y'all will put them in the chat. What do you think about them banning Kaspersky? Do you think that that's a good idea because of their being based in Russia? I mean, I've heard about it for years, them saying they were thinking about doing something like that or complaining that it was Russia based. All right. Well, you discussed that. I have to flip over to another screen when I'm reading these, so I may not see your comments for a moment until I jump back over. All right. I wanted to point out this Meta lawsuit. A Meta engineer was told to resign after calling out sexist hiring practices. Some managers are accused of retaliation and covering up mistreatment of women. So Tuesday, the company got hit with a lawsuit alleging that the company knowingly overlooks sexist treatment of female employees. That includes an apparent practice of hiring and promoting less qualified men to roles over more qualified female applicants. I was surprised when I started reading this because I was expecting one thing and it turned out it was something different. The complaint was filed in a U.S. District Court in New York by Jeffrey Smith, an engineer who joined Meta in 2018. I was actually expecting it to be a woman who filed this and was getting retaliation, and it turns out it was a man, which is great that there was a man standing up for the women in his part of the company. Smith alleged that Meta was on the brink of promoting him when suddenly his upward trajectory stopped after he started speaking up about allegedly misogynistic management practices at Meta. He claimed that instead of a promotion, his manager, Sasha Arnaud, suggested that he resign shortly after delivering Smith's first ever negative performance review, which reduced his bonus payout and impacted his company stock. Smith has alleged he suffered emotional distress and economic injury due to this retaliation. They use the word alleged a lot, so we're just going to assume that all of this is alleged. The engineer, whose direct reports consider him to be proactive and the most thoughtful manager ever, the complaint noted, started protesting Meta's treatment of women in the summer of 2023. For Smith, the tipping point toward advocating for women at Meta came when an exceedingly capable female Meta employee had her role downsized during a company reorganization. Some of her former responsibilities were allocated to two male employees, one of which Smith considered a particularly poor fit because the male employee had significantly less experience than the female employee and no experience managing other managers. Uh, Now, the women in the crowd are going to say, hmm, not really a surprise. So, and not really a surprise for a lot of big companies, but at least someone's calling it out loud and suing them. And it looks like we have a lot of comments about network access and things like that. So let's see. Rob was asking Michael if any of the VPN apps have a way to limit access to the app, make it so zero tier cannot be turned off. Thus, all the network access goes through your DNS, and you can block the talk tickers from there. Sam says evaluating Rapid7 and CrowdStrike right now. Rob says CrowdStrike is high on their list so far. Tad says, I know I'm repeating, but it's worth saying Our Pact works great for controlling kid phones. I think I've heard of that one, Tad. I think some of the people I know have used that before, but I don't have any personal experience with it. Carl is saying Sentinel-1 threat down, ESET. Nathan says he uses Sentinel-1. Jonathan says CrowdStrike is great. Michael says S1 and Sentinel-1 and CrowdStrike. Emily says that they use CrowdStrike and plays very well with JumpCloud. Oh, thank you. We do try to play nice. Sam says issues with Sentinel-1 and JCU right now. Corrupted a ton of installs when they ran the last update. Ooh, no fair, Sentinel-1. I hope you are able to get that resolved, Sam. Michael says, look at the exceptions. I have that stack and have never had issues. Full exceptions are in place for the folder and app. Oh, see, we're doing some troubleshooting right in the comments here. I love it. I love it. I love it. So James says Sophos shop there. So Sam, if you need to, I would definitely, if you haven't already, start a combo over in Slack or in the community. And I mean, I've seen similar conversations in the past when Sentinel-1 has changed some things, so it might just require a quick list of troubleshooting to see what is going on there. And I'm sorry you're having trouble. All right, one last headline, which caught my eye just because of how it was started. Slack wants to become the long-term memory for organizations. And this was from Computer World. Slack CEO said AI will be infused into every aspect of the application, allowing users to address tasks and create new projects without ever leaving the collaboration and productivity platform. So sounds to me like they're trying to be a kind of a one-stop shop. But this is going to be difficult because they need to improve their search first. So Slack CEO Denise Dresser said this week laid out what she sees as her company's primary use for AI in the future, making it easier for users to find key channel conversations and turn them into the basis for tasks and projects. Dresser, a longtime Salesforce employee who took the reins of Slack 6 months ago, sat down with members of the media on Tuesday after her keynote address at Salesforce's World Tour event in Boston. Much of the focus was on Slack's integration with Salesforce's Einstein Copilot. What Slack will eventually be able to offer both its own and Salesforce's users is a unified experience where AI oversees any influx of both structured and unstructured data and parses through it to offer users the most important summaries. Being able to find key moments in chat, knowing what happened in conversations is hard to navigate, Dresser said, and that is the heart of Slack's AI integration. Sometimes AI can be the simplest thing that drives productivity, she said. So we did Slack AI search. With that, Slack becomes the long term memory of your organization, being able to find things easily in a generative manner where you actually get a summary of what you need to find was a really big aha moment for us. So there you go. They're trying to improve their search, but um, there is an opt out for Slack AI. If you don't want your data to be a part of their training and stuff, you can actually go opt out of that. But then they give you this warning that says, "Oh, but then you won't be able to take advantage of this AI stuff in your instance." So you can make that choice. Michael says, "It's funny how bad Slack search is. Hopefully, they improve that without putting it behind a paid AI feature." Yeah, I don't know what they're gonna do there exactly, Michael, but, if you are on a paid instance, you can opt out of the AI piece. I don't know if free versions get to take advantage of that. So let's see. Brandon says, "Slack search is drunk, Windows search is out to lunch." And Jonathan says, "Improve their search. Have you tried Teams search?" No, I haven't, Jonathan, because I work on a Mac and um, Teams does not play well with a Mac. And when I've tried to use, like when I'm on a call with someone who uses Teams, it will gobble up a bunch of resources. And there are times where I have to just completely restart when I have used Teams for something. And I have a friend that has the same issue. So yeah, that has not worked. Sam, I'm seeing your comments about support ticket and there hasn't been much help. Um, that's tough if it's a Sentinel-1 issue and not ours, but send me your ticket number and I will talk to someone and see what we can figure out for you. So, oh, Brandon, Teams just released a new app for Mac. Oh well, I'm still not going to try it. But thanks for telling me that, Brandon. Teams doesn't play well with anything, Michael says. And Mark says the new Teams is better, they say. And Jonathan says, yeah, new Teams is way better, but still Teams. And Brandon says, let's be real, all three are better than Google Chat. Gosh, when was the last time I used Google Chat? Does that still exist? I don't even really I don't even think I've used it that much. I guess for a handful of friends who are all the way across the world, but I think they even stopped using it once they got an iPhone and we just use iMessage. Michael says Windows can have up to 3 teams, personal teams, teams, and new teams all installed at once. Oh, no. No, thank you. And Tad says any app that installs to the user profile is. Sam says we have completely removed Teams from our systems 5 times now, and Microsoft keeps finding a way to auto install it back onto our computers. Well, that is super annoying. The only team I'm going to play, Rob says, is the postmodern jukebox cover of the Lord song. There you go. And then Brandon says, I remember back in the day when there was Link, Skype, and Skype for Business. Oh, yeah. That was terrible. Teams reinstalls itself on an Office update. Ooh. So you don't really have a chance, huh? It just is going to do it whether you want it to or not. See, I don't like it when things are bundled in that way and you can't do anything about it and keep it. Rob says, wait, what? There are 3 teams? I see Microsoft let the Xbox guys back into being the naming authority. Wait till next year when it becomes Skype Teams Link for Business. And James says, Teams is terrible, although people that are on Office 365 seem to like it. Well, there's no accounting for taste in that regard, James. I don't know. I mean, the app itself is just no fun. Brendan says, Rob, for you, MSN. MSN Skype Teams link for business with Mixer powered by AI. Oh, all right. Y'all are killing me with these with these names. I can't. It gets more and more complicated. But yeah, I can't wait to see what the naming for all that is. And I don't understand why. I mean, I'm confused about all the different installs of Teams, like the business, personal, and whatever the other one was, because in Slack, you can just have the different channels you're on just all there mixed. Like, they're just all in the sidebar, and you can have one, you can sign in with different email addresses, and they're all there just in the sidebar. So you don't have to have like 5 different instances of Slack. They're just all logged in together, and it makes it certainly easier to manage because you sign in a bunch of times, but it's all there. I like Rob's MSN Bing Skype Teams Link Copilot Personal. I did see a headline that said something about a new version of Copilot being installed on Copilot PCs, but it actually made it worse somehow. I don't know. It was funny. Rob says, okay, so Mark says with recall, and Brandon says, hey, Mark, if they had recall, their search might actually work. And Rob says, now, they recalled recall. So there you go. Ah, yes, Brandon, looking for the term Copilot Plus. I would have to go back and find that that exact article, but there was something about it making things worse instead of better. So I kind of skipped over that and figured we didn't need to talk about that today. So I don't know why. I don't know what it does. Does the plus on Copilot make it better? And then there was something about, no, I don't. I think Einstein was related to something else. I can't remember if they were also using Einstein, or maybe it's all their own stuff. Microsoft Copilot is obviously made by Boeing and deployed by United Air. I did see some complaints about Boeing in the news as well. So some fake parts or something made out of not the metal they thought they were made out of. So it's a mess out there, y'all. But I hope that you have something fun and relaxing planned this weekend. And Rob says, of course, the plus makes it better. It's something they can charge for. Of course, new and improved. Anytime there's a new and improved or a plus or a, extra, then, you can charge more for it. Or just put business on the end of it. Because if it's the business version, then you can charge more for that. Oh, yes, Jonathan. Best of luck to those astronauts. Safe return home on Starliner. Absolutely. We are officially in summer now, thanks to the solstice and longest day of daylight yesterday. So I hope you have something enjoyable planned. We're really close to the July 4th holiday for those in the US who celebrate it, which means we are out July 4th and 5th. That's 2 weeks away, but we will not have an IT hour that week because of that, because we will be out. So you'll get an extra day away from us and not having to hear us go on and on about silly things. But thank you all for joining us today. I hope you enjoyed Nate's presentation about JCU. And thanks again. It's good to be back and enjoying the IT hour. And next week, um, Sergey is going to be back with us to talk about mobile device trust. So we hope you will join us then. And see you next week, y'all. Have a great weekend and take care. Bye.